Okay, is this thing on? Is this thing on? Oh, okay, great. Okay, guys, in here I've got a can, perfectly open can, of course. And I'll try to do something that you guys might think of it as magic, but it's not. Just look at this. Oh!
A few moments later.
Finally, my gosh, it's so hard. But now it's done. Now you can see that I made a defying gravity can. A can defying gravity, sorry. So is this magic or physics? Okay, so was this magic or physics? Well, of course, it's physics. But why? Well, the first thing you need to know is center of gravity. Center of gravity is like a point where your mass is most concentrated at. So for example, I've got an object and I've got this surface, or in this case the marker. Now how is this possible? How is this stable? Well, to explain that, you know that when a center of gravity, when the point of center of gravity of an object is right above the area where the surface meets the object, it will become stable. For example, this thing is stable because the surface is right below the center of gravity. The center of gravity is this long thing around here, this long line area, and it's balanced because of that. The same thing works for this can. When this can tilts, you can see that the only thing that is meeting the surface with the can is only this area here. It's only this edge, or whatever you call it. And when the center of gravity is right on its edge, right above the edge, it will become balanced. And one more thing you need to know is that the lower the center of gravity of an object, the more stable an object becomes. And therefore, making center of gravity an important thing to know, you need to know when you need to understand this. Okay, so before we move on, I have to explain a few things about this demonstration. Now, I've got here a full can, and it does not balance. And in the meantime, I've got a center of gravity around here, and I'll try to balance it where it's meeting this point, where it's meeting the surface and the edge, you know. And it does not balance. It either tilts or falls back to its original position. Okay? It will never be able to balance. So, does this question come to mind? Then why can't the full can balance when the center of gravity is right above the surface? The reason, of course, lies in the shape of a can. Now, if you look closely enough, this can, or any other can, has like this type of concave shape on its edge. Now this thing helps to balance this, and because of that, the center of gravity must be right around this area, right? This length, because this one balances because the center of gravity is right above this concave shape. Meanwhile, if an object has this tipped edge and not this very wider edge, it will fall immediately, even if its center of gravity is right above the edge. It will do that. Conclusion. So in order to have a can balanced 45 degrees, you must first observe the amount of water. Because the amount of water affects the center of gravity, which could make it balance or make it fall over. The amount of water is important. In here, I placed enough water for it to change the center of gravity lower enough for it to be able to balance. Now second, to make this demonstration possible, we must first make sure that the shape of the can have this concave shape in order for it to balance. Because the wider the edge, the more balanced an object can become.